Here's an interview with one of the freed hostages. I'm not going to understate that he supports Israel. He is Israeli. He said this was horrible and a horrible time in his life. And I can't picture anyone coming out of a hostage situation, no matter how they were treated, and going, it was awesome. I loved it. Totally get this guy had this is the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to his life. And he's an older guy. But here's the key part of this interview. He's asked by Haaretz, a Israeli newspaper. So they're being kept. They were kept in a house. They were moved around a lot, but they were kept in houses a lot of the time. Average Palestinian homes or apartments. Haaretz, the reporter says, "Did you hear the military around you?" He says, "All the time," and meaning the Israeli military. And the reporter then says, "And did this give you hope or shake your confidence?" And the guy responds, "Our greatest fear," our meaning the hostages, "was the IDF's planes and the concern that they would bomb the building we were in. Our greatest fear as hostages in Gaza was that the IDF would murder us." That I paraphrased that second sentence, but I'll go back to his exact words. Quote, "Our greatest fear was the IDF's planes and the concern that they would bomb the building we were in. I was a soldier myself once, but the feeling that it could be our bombs, our own planes, that this is what would kill us, that's very scary and very anxiety inducing." The number one fear of the hostages being held by Hamas is that Israel will murder them. Does that tell you something? Does that tell anyone something about what exactly this situation is? Israel is a murderous, unhinged, apartheid, oppressive regime that actually has the Hannibal Directive, which tells them to murder their own hostages, to murder their own people, as they did. They killed, who knows what the actual number is on October 7th. Well, this guy's former IDF. One of them might have been current IDF, the young woman that was freed. Almost everyone in Israel has been in the military because they're all required to be in the military unless you are an Orthodox Jew. And therefore, almost all of them are ex-military or current military. So it would not surprise me if all four of these people are ex or current military. But anyway, so when you say, was someone IDF, they almost all were IDF at some point because everybody in Israel's in the military for 2 years. And here's a keynote, which I think is also not mentioned enough. That's not because Israel necessarily needs each of those people to be in the military for 2 years. It's because they want 2 years of indoctrination. And I mean, full indoctrination, sleep deprivation, all of it. This is how you end up with a country where 90 whatever percent endorse this genocide, because they have all been so aggressively indoctrinated and manipulated into this crazy apartheid regime. If any mainstream media is not bringing you the fact that these hostages are saying the number one fear was that they would be murdered by Israel, I think then they're lying by way of omission, because this is such a key point. We're supposed to believe that these hostages are the only ones that matter and their safety is the only thing that matters, right? You can kill 274 Palestinians to save 4 people. And yet, if you actually cared about their safety of the Israeli hostages, then Israel would stop bombing. But Israel does not, because Israel's committing genocide, a U.S.-backed genocide. And I'll bring you a poll. Why not? I've been doing these polls more and more over on my YouTube community page. Here's a poll. I also put this up on my Twitter. And between the two polls, we have 5,000 votes. So this is 5,000 votes. And I know that there's a Twitter, YouTube bubble. I get that they're mainly showing this poll to subscribers of my channel. And if you subscribe to my channel, you're more likely to understand the reality of Israel than maybe the average. My poll asked, what is Israel doing? Option 1, genocide. Option 2, rescuing hostages. Option 3, neither. 97% of you said genocide. 97%. And I know that this poll is not only shown to my supporters, because if you share it, obviously, which it was shared by countless people, in order to get 3,000 votes on YouTube and another 1.5 thousand on Twitter. It's not just my supporters. So it's not just in the bubble. And yet 97% say this is a genocide. On my Twitter poll, 1.3 thousand voting, perpetrating genocide, 92.7%, 93%, rescuing hostages, 4%, and neither 3.5%. Like, is there anyone who's dumb enough to think still at this time that what Israel's doing, like on a day-to-day basis, is trying to rescue hostages? You are out of your goddamn gourd if you're really willing to look past all reality and just still trying to save the hostages. Still, that's what they're doing.